Cincinnati Reds. Today's game and every game on Fox Sports Ohio for Reds baseball, presented in beautiful high definition courtesy of H.H. Gregg. And beautiful is the word describing the weather here today. And our friends from WKRC television give us a full report. Right now 60, temperatures expected to climb well above 70, very low humidity. Just a sunny, beautiful, glorious Saturday in the Queen City. Well, through the years, seemingly every series these teams play against one another. Jeff Brantley, it's Carlos Zambrano against Aaron Harang. Today will be the 8th time they have dueled against one another, and there you see the numbers. Harang has been far better than Carlos Zambrano.
When you're pitching number one against number one, both of you have to elevate your game, and you look at the numbers, and you can tell by these numbers who's elevating whose game, and that would be Aaron Harang. Zambrano's pitched very well at Great American Ballpark, but pitching against Harang, he doesn't seem to do so well.
And obviously the Reds are hoping that that story will continue today. But when we come back, round 2, the Reds and the Cubs from Cincinnati. F-Series trucks, the best-selling trucks 33 straight years. By Just for Men for mustache and beard, keep your edge. And by Skyline Chili. You know it's Skyline time when you get that craving for a Skyline 3-way or cheese coney. Fountain Square, right in the heart of downtown Cincinnati. Good crowd on a beautiful spring Saturday along the banks of the Ohio. Reds winners here last night in thrilling fashion, 5-4. Luke Piniella starting lineup today. As Ryan Theriot at short, Kosuke Fukudome in right with Derek Lee at first. Aramis Ramirez a cleanup hitter at third. Marlon Byrd in a Cub uniform, starting in center with Alfonso Soriano in left. A latter third of Mike Fontenot, Giovanni Soto, and Carlos Zambrano. And on the mound for the Reds, 31-year-old San Diego native Aaron Harang, trying to bounce back from a 14-loss season last year.
He's made a lot of adjustments, Tom, most of them coming during the offseason. Tried to implement them during spring training. That's one of the reasons that his spring training numbers were a little bit high, simply because he was working on things from the time he got here to the time he left.
Harang started, of course, on opening day, the 6th time as a Red. He lost that game going 5 innings, allowing 5 hits, 4 runs. 3 of those were earned. He walked a couple, struck out a couple. You thought he threw the ball pretty well. He did have very good velocity.
I did. I thought he threw the ball well, except for 2 pitches. One in the bullpen in left center field, and one in the bullpen in right field line. Home run.
Ryan Theriot looks at a fastball strike, and this game underway. Theriot, a couple of hits, scored a run in the game last night, and made 2 marvelous plays defensively at shortstop. Quickly 0-2. Lou Piniella today back to what many consider to be his regular lineup, although Xavier Nady will get a lot of playing time as this season progresses. So will the rookie Tyler Colvin. Neither one in the lineup today, and that's good morning, good afternoon, and good night to Ryan Theriot. The Reds defensively have a couple of changes. We take a look, presented by Ford. Chris Dickerson to start in left. Drew Stubbs again in center. Jay Bruce at right. First start this year at third for the young phenom Juan Francisco. Cabrera, Phillips, and Votto round out the infield. And Hannigan, day game after a night game, behind the plate for Aaron Harang. Here's Fukudome. Strike 1. Fukudome beginning his 3rd season with the Cubs since coming over from his homeland of Japan. He had the blazing start in 2008, wound up on the National League All-Star team, and by the end of the year he wasn't even on the postseason roster. And then last year had a pretty solid season. 0-2 on Fukudome. Only Derek Lee had more extra base hits a season ago for the Cubs than the 54 posted by Fukudome. He has a very good eye at the plate and a very high on base percentage. He'll take a walk and generally is very tough to strike out.
Well, he bails out with that front foot towards the first base bag, but he keeps his hands back and keeps those hips closed, and it allows him to slap the ball the other way.
One and 2 to Fukudome. Off the outside edge, Stephen the count. Right back to Harang. Firm throw to Votto, and Fukudome retired. First 2 gone here in the Cubs opening inning.
Watch the front foot of Fukudome. You can see it bailed towards the first base bag. That was a breaking ball there. And even stepping into the bucket, I guess you would call that, he still got himself jammed on the breaking ball.
Well, here comes Derek Lee. He has reached base safely in all 4 Cub games so far this season. Throwing a walk or hit by a pitch in every game. 4 hits total. 3 of those came in the game last night. 3 for 4, 2 runs, a home run knocked into, was also hit by a pitch. Including last night's long ball, Derek Lee has 14 home runs in his career here at Great American Ballpark. And that is tied for the most he's hit as a visiting player in any stadium, along with Milwaukee's Miller Park. Two and one.
Tom, so many times when you watch a big guy like Derek Lee, and we talked about this yesterday, he's got that big open stance almost facing you, so it gives you that big open area in front of home plate. You can see it right in this area here. That makes you want to throw the ball away, but that's where Lee likes it. You can get him out with slow stuff out there and make him pull it on the ground, but you've got to make him respect the inside corner so he doesn't carry that front foot all the way back to the plate.
2-2 on Derek Lee. 2 down, nobody on, top of the first inning, and Orang looking for the perfect first inning, which he had. There's that soft stuff down and away. Well done by Orang. Reds come to bat for the first time when we return. Comes to the plate against Zambrano. Drew Stubbs in center. Orlando Cabrera at short. Joey Votto is at first. Brandon Phillips at second base. Jay Bruce in right. Juan Francisco at third. A ladder third of Chris Dickerson, Ryan Hannigan, and Aaron Harang. Hard to believe Carlos Zambrano is only 28 years old.
Seems like he's been around forever.
He will turn 29 in June. Last year, he had a string of 6 consecutive seasons where he won 13 or more games come to an end. And his first start this season, the worst start of his major league career. That was on opening day as it's ball 1 to Stubbs in Atlanta. Zambrano lasted an inning and a third, gave up 6 hits, 8 earned runs, surrendered a couple of home runs, and walked 2 batters. Now, most of the time when Zambrano has that kind of an outing, you'd expect him to, melt down out there on the mound. We have seen emotions get the better part of him so frequently through the years. An extremely emotional pitcher, but apparently that was not the case on opening day at Turner Field. Obviously, he was not happy with the way he pitched, but no major blow-up.
Well, to me, Tom, and I've watched so many times where he's pitched, he looks like year after year, he's lowering his elbow lower and lower as time goes on.
Well, that didn't take long. Stubbs gone on strikes. The Cubs defensively brought to you by Ford. They have Soriano on left. Marlon Byrd is in center and Fukudome out in right. Ramirez and Lee on the corners. Again, Terrio and Fontenot up the middle. The battery of Zambrano and Giovanni Soto. Getting his first start in the last 3 games. Coy Hill had started the last 2. Now Orlando Cabrera. Despite the fact that Cabrera has just 3 hits in 16 at-bats, he has a home run, a double, and leads a team, well, did until last night, with 4 RBIs. Drew Stubbs now the team leader. After that grand slam, gives him 5 runs batted in.
Not bad for your first 2 guys in your order.
No. A broken bat, flare into right field, and Cabrera aboard. 80% of the bat is up the third baseline. The handle's in foul ground first base side.
He's trying to go to right field, and he gets a high slider which actually helps you go that way. But the ball continued to break even though it was up in the strike zone, and Cabrera hits it off the end of the bat, but he gets enough of the bat to it to get it by Fontenot over there at second base.
And how sweet is that Exmo camera? Oh, seeing that bat break right there. Now Joey Votto, he looks at ball one. Joey, 5 hits and 16 at bats with a home run, his only run batted in.
That Exmo camera allows you to really decipher what actually is going on in the swing or the pitching mechanics, the dive, whatever it may be.
Zambrano is a 3-time National League All-Star, and of course etched his name in the record books by throwing the 13th no-hitter in Cubs franchise history. He did that on September the 14th, 2008 against Houston, and that game was played coincidentally at Miller Park in Milwaukee. That's when they had to make up the game, and a lot of people were very upset about that series being played in Milwaukee with such a huge home field advantage for the Cubs. There's a bouncer fielded by Fontenot, and Zambrano immediately breaks for the bag, and they get the out there with Cabrera on the second. 2 gone.
Good job by Zambrano getting over to the right side. Anytime a ball is hit that side, you see Zambrano right away. He's on the move, and once he realizes that it gets by Lee, he goes straight to the bag. He gets the throw from Fontenot and makes the play look easy, and that is not an easy play.
Well, here's a guy the Reds need to get going. He's not the only one. Phillips, Bruce, Rowland, really all those guys struggling here this opening week. Brandon just 2 hits and 15 at bats. He does have a couple of runs batted in. To Fontenot, who bobbles a couple of times and then throws out Phillips to end the inning. A hit a man left. We played 1, and we are scoreless. Jeff, I think you and I both agree, and most feel like the Reds have a rock-solid bullpen.
And I think the bullpen is going to be fine. The early numbers don't look great on the ERA side. There were 4 walks, obviously, 3 home runs, and those things will catch up with you in a hurry, but they'll smooth out as time moves along.
We begin the second inning with Aramis Ramirez fouling it off to the first base side, 0-1. Bird to follow, and then Alfonso Soriano. should be noted, the last 7 innings thrown by the Reds bullpen, they've only given up 1 run. That was a home run last night by Derek Lee. And you can't talk enough about the job turned in last night from Micah Owings. Came into the game with his team down 3-1, and after 3 innings out of the pen, the Reds had the 5-3 lead.
It's amazing what happens to a team when you come in as a bullpen member and you shut down the opposition. Your team starts to relax a little bit because they don't have to worry so much about defense, and they start to hit. When you got somebody on the mound that's shutting down the opponent, your hitters don't feel so much pressure. That makes things move in a hurry.
And really the artery off the performance last night. Multiple arteries. You save so many guys in the bullpen. You pitch well enough to give your team the chance to win, which they ultimately did. But even if they didn't come back to win, I mean, everybody down there is now fresh and ready to roll here today and or tomorrow.
And when you go out and pitch well out of the bullpen, that becomes contagious. Very similar to how winning is in this game. Hitting, pitching, whatever it may be. Guys want to follow in that vein.
Ball hit hard to the right of Jay Bruce. Oh, Ramirez stunned that pitch in the right field, but allowed out. Now Marlon Byrd, the Cubs' biggest free agent player, signed during the winter. Of course, he comes over along with the guy who's given credit for helping turn around Marlon Byrd's career, the Cubs' first-year hitting coach, Rudy Jaramillo. In the hole at short, Cabrera cuts it loose. That's the arm we're used to seeing from Cabrera, and that didn't take long. 1 pitch to retire Marlon Byrd. 2 away in the inning.
Byrd has really shortened up his swing since he has been with hitting coach Rudy Jaramillo. But look at the play here by Cabrera. He gets to the ball in the hole and makes sure that he gets the weight on the back leg and gets that foot planted, and it allows him to make a perfect throw to first base.
Cabrera has played enough against Marlon Byrd to know you better not take anything for granted, because Byrd is all out all the time. Here's Soriano. It's low and away for ball 1.
That's the one thing that's going to be interesting about watching Stubbs run throughout the season. There's going to be some infielders that are going to have to bite the bullet when he's taken off down the line. And that pressure that you put on the defense by running all out as Stubbs does, if you even bobble the baseball on the left side of the infield, you can forget about it.
It also helps when you're fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I can run hard from, here to Covington, but you might need a calendar to check how long it takes me to get there.
Oh, that's better than a golf cart that I would be.
1-2 on Alfonso Soriano. Soriano signing that whopping contract 3 years ago. And if you include this year, there are 5 years remaining on the contract to Alfonso Soriano. High pop-up, short right. Bruce is there, inning over. 6 up, 6 down for Aaron Harang. Our game today. Teresa Vickers of Crittenden, Kentucky will win the beautiful new Toyota Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. You can register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. A scoreless game as we open the bottom of the second inning. Jay Bruce, Juan Francisco, Chris Dickerson against Carlos Zambrano. Jay 1 for 15 to begin the year, is hitless in his last 13 at bats. And another line drive off the bat of Jay Bruce. He had a couple last night, but just can't find a hole.
Jay may not be real happy with the results right now, but from what I can see, his bat is flat. It's through the strike zone. He's hitting the ball on the fat part of the bat. He's right on time. He's just not been able to find holes. Line drives will come sooner or later. He's going to get those hit.
So now one of the real highly touted prospects, and there are a number of them inside this Reds organization. Juan Francisco. Last year hit 28 home runs and knocked in 100 runs, 3 different levels, AA Carolina, AAA Louisville, and then hit a home run, knocked in 7 in just 21 at bats, finishing the year with a big league club. He is ranked as the 5th best prospect in the organization. 2 years ago was a Rookie of the Year in Winter Ball. Last year was the Winter Ball MVP. 0-2 the count. Now, like a lot of young power hitters, Francisco has been prone to striking out a lot in his minor league career. But man, when bat meets ball, you need a hard hat. Not going to meet it this time. Second strikeout of the afternoon for Carlos Zambrano. Well, we invite you to join the Reds tomorrow. They'll take on the Cubs to wrap up the series, and the first 20,000 fans through the gates will receive a 2010 Reds magnetic schedule and logo car magnet courtesy of PNC. Get tickets to tomorrow's game or any game by calling 513-381-REDS, 381-REDS, or log on to Reds.com. Here's Chris Dickerson. Strike 1. So Zambrano has already gone farther into this game than he did on opening day against Atlanta.
He's definitely mixing up his pitches much more than I've seen him really in any ball game early.
In the air left field, Soriano backpedaling, and that sails over his head.
Boy, Soriano just butchered that ball. That ball was smoke, but it turned him all around out there. Left-handed batter, the ball is going to slice towards the line. Soriano is turning every which way except where the ball's going. Zambrano not happy about it.
He shouldn't be.
What kind of contract you say he signed?
5 more years.
Wow, he better hit better than he's doing.
With the base open, the number 8 hitter, Ryan Hannigan, steps to the plate and looks at a fastball low. Ryan making his second start of the year. His other start, he had a couple of hits, including a double.
And I think every time that Ryan Hannigan has a runner in scoring position this year, he is going to lock down like no tomorrow.
You just said it. There's a base hit into left field. It'll give the Reds an early 1-0 lead as Hannigan delivers. That was something, Cowboy, we talked about last year. Hannigan had an outstanding year, but struggled like many young players do with runners in scoring position. But you believe, you just said it before that swing, this year will be different.
Just tried to do too much with runners in scoring position last year. He started getting out on the front foot. And I think now he's got more confidence being in the big leagues and feels much better about what he's trying to do, and evidenced by that swing there.
So the gift double for Dickerson on a play that should have been made to end the inning. That one backhanded by Ramirez. And that will end the inning. But Hannigan makes Soriano pay for the miscue in left field. It's 1-0 Reds at the end of 2.
Up. Now watch where the hand goes all the way back around. You talk about some pressure on the elbow and on the shoulder right there. Ouch.
Cubs come to bat here in the top half of the 3rd inning, with the Reds in front 1-0. 6 up and 6 down for the Reds right-hander Aaron Harang, so that means the bottom part of the batting order. Fontenot, Soto, and Zambrano. Of course, Zambrano's no regular pitcher swinging at bat.
He's got 20 home runs. Man.
Fontenot had a good night here last night at the plate. Had 3 hits, was on base 4 times, 3 singles, and reached on the 9th inning error by Paul Janisch. Get off the end of the bat foul. 1-2 on Fontenot.
Those last 2 pitches were changeups by Harang, and that was the pitch that he worked on the most in spring training, trying to get that arm speed the same as the fastball, but also be able to locate the pitch down in the strike zone.
Right back to Harang. 7 straight retired by Aaron. Our Geico Direct quote of the game, who else than the hero last night afterwards, Drew Stubbs with Jeff Piecoro.
No, not at all. You know, we had a good night swinging the bat, just not much to show for it, hitting some balls hard at guys, and, you know, got that opportunity and put a good swing on the ball out over the plate, and, you know, good things happen.
Said afterwards he knew from the second he made contact that that baby was going to leave the ballpark.
Yeah, when he flipped that bat, he knew it was gone.
Stubbs, by the way, becomes the first Reds leadoff hitter to have a triple and a grand slam in the same game in 35 years. The last Red period to do it, have a triple and a grand slam in a game, was August 31st, 2001. Robin Jennings, who of course wasn't around very long, and we thank, as always, our stat man extraordinaire Mark Wagner for that piece of information. Giovanni Soto, the National League's Rookie of the Year in 2008. He showed up out of shape the following year in spring training, and a lost year for Soto after hitting .285 in 08. He hit .218. He had 23 homers and 86 RBIs in 08. 11 and 47 a year later, and he's gone on strikes. 3 of those in the game now for Aaron Harang.
Watch this fastball come right back to the outside corner. Starts off the plate, boom, right on the corner. And if you've just swung at a breaking ball that started in that same spot and broke off the plate, you can't pull the trigger.
So now Zambrano, your Cowboy mentioned a moment ago, 20 home runs in his career, so you can't take him lightly. He is a switch hitter. Two just threw a fastball right by him.
He won his first Silver Slugger Award as a pitcher in 2006. He also won it in 2008 and 2009.
Well, he won't win it for that first at bat of the game. 4 strikeouts, 9 in a row set down by Aaron Harang to begin this. So many great years writing for the Dayton Daily News, and now here on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds lead 1-0, top of the order coming up here in the last of the third against Carlos Zambrano. 1 run, 3 hits for the Reds. They got a 2-out double by Chris Dickerson in the second inning, and he scored on a 2-out single by Hannigan. Terrio throws, no chance to get the speedy stuff. We have talked about it so many times. There are so many that have been around for a long time. Hal McCoy, one of them, I would imagine, that'll tell you after Deion Sanders, perhaps no Red has been faster than Drew Stubbs.
And he is so smooth. The power in his legs allows him to get those long, leaping strides. And you watch him run, and it doesn't look like he's trying that hard to run. He just gets there in a hurry.
Well, let's see if the Reds can get the running game started. I mean, let's face it, they haven't had many guys on base through the first 4 games of this season to do much running, at least not in running situations. And we know that Stubbs has a potential to be a big-time base stealer. He had 46 of them last year. There he goes on the first pitch. They play hit and run. And Cabrera fouls it away.
And that's exactly what you're supposed to do as a batter. When the pitch comes to home plate, even if it's not a strike, you still have to make contact, foul the ball off, do anything you can to try to get it on the ground.
Cabrera with a broken bat single into right field his first time up. The 46 stolen bases at AAA last year for the Bats. The most in the league of any player.
You know, and Stubbs doesn't have to have that protection with the hit and run to steal. He could just flat take off and make it on his own.
On the count, and now time is called by the catcher, Giovanni Soto. Oh, 2 on Orlando Cabrera, and Soto wants to come out and chat with Zambrano.
You can really see Cabrera trying to shoot the ball to the right side and take advantage of Derek Lee standing on first base. Watch the pitch here. It's going to run in a little bit, and Cabrera still trying to shoot the ball in between that hole where Fontenot stands and Derek Lee stand.
It's a winning player.
He does what he has to do. You saw him hit the ball that way his first time up. He's trying to do it again.
Strike 3 called on the outside corner. He must have been guessing there.
I think he was looking for that breaking ball. He got so many fastballs early. And Zambrano's that kind of pitcher. When you're looking for a breaking ball and the ball starts off the plate, immediately your brain says take, and then that fastball comes back, locks you up.
Well, now with a left-handed batter up there, Joey Votto, you have that hole on the right side. The pull side, with Derek Lee holding Stubbs on at first. Stubbs, a leadoff infield hit.
And the thing about Joey, Tom, is they play so far off the third base bag with Aramis Ramirez that Joey Votto can take the ball and shoot it right down this line. And by doing that, Stubbs is so fast he could score from first base on a double to left.
A hitless game in the series opener last night for Votto. He bounced out to Fontenot his first time up today. You know, it's so interesting with the Cardinals just in town, and how, you know, so many times you wish you had a dollar for every time you've heard managers say it through the years. You know, for my big guys, I don't like hitting and running, you know, 2-0, 3-1, that kind of thing. And the Reds are not doing it 2-0 here. Yet one of the first things Albert Pujols told Tony La Russa when he became a fixture in that 3-hole, he told him, he said, look, I don't care when you run. You run 2-0, run 3-1, not going to bother me a bit. And we saw it the other night, running on 3-1. Strike on the outside corner.
I don't know that running really bothers a left-handed hitter anyway. He's got his back to the guy that's at first base. Take off. Heck, with Votto there, he's liable to drive one in the gap.
3-1 to Joey Votto. And Zambrano believing maybe the Reds had something going on a 3-1 count.
It looked like he was running right there.
And it's thrown away. So Stubbs now in scoring position as Zambrano threw over there once too many times.
It did not look as though Zambrano had even gotten ready barely even had the lead out there, and he just flat snapped it off. Like he threw Derek Lee a breaking ball. Soto trying to get out there and make sure the big boy is not about to blow his top. He was upset when the run scored back in the second. Soto trying to make sure he's calmed down here.
Now Stubbs out at second base with only one away. And a ground ball to the shortstop. Terrio took a look at third, but will throw out Votto at first. 2 away in the inning. And here comes Brandon Phillips. Let's take a look at the National League Central Division standings this opening week of this 2010 season presented by Honda. St. Louis won 2 out of 3 here to begin the year, then rolled into Milwaukee and beat the Brewers in the opener last night 5-4. Pirates lost out in Arizona. And Houston still winless. Astros will play Philadelphia later tonight. All 4 of those losses on their home field. 3 against the Giants and the series opener against the Phillies last night. Two-out RBI by Hannigan in the second, and Phillips do it in the third. He's ahead in the count, 2 balls, no strikes.
We talked about this last night, Tom. This is a spot that the Reds must improve on, and that's driving in runs with 2 outs and runners in scoring position.
Fly ball in a deep left center field. Bird at the track. Bird at the wall. It is gone.
Fastball that starts out over the plate, and it runs right back middle in, and Phillips just flat out unloads. No chance for Bird to steal that one.
First home run this season for Brandon Phillips. The second time he's touched up Zambrano in his career. And here's Jay Bruce. 3-0. Reds lead it in the third. All 3 runs coming with 2 outs in an inning. Short center field. Bird coming to get it, and that's that. But as the smoke clears in the third inning, the Reds have jumped in front of Carlos Zambrano and the Cubs. A 3-0 lead. 947 Auto. And by GMC, we are professional grade. Just a glorious spring Saturday in Cincinnati. Temperatures in the mid-60s, climbing up above 70. Outside of one day since really the final week of March, it's been pretty much like this every day. And for the foreseeable future, from what we understand. Terrio becomes the first Chicago base runner with a base hit into left field to start the fourth inning. Harang had retired the first 9 of the day. So for the first time in, well, almost an hour, Aaron Harang will pitch out of the stretch. Terrio very much a base stealing threat. The Cubs are not that at all as a team. 56 stolen bases last year, fewest in the major leagues, and the fewest by a Cub team since 1971. Terrio had 21 of the 56. Blocked by Hannigan. Terrio got a good break, and he'll easily go into second. And the ball gets by Brandon Phillips, but they're going to call interference. Are they? No. Second base umpire C.B. Buckner is telling Ryan Terrio no after Terrio started to break for third and ran into Orlando Cabrera. And here comes Lou Piniella. Terrio looks like he has a pretty good beef here.
I think what C.B. Buckner was looking at was the face of Terrio, because Terrio was actually facing C.B. Buckner as he started to break towards third. And it did not look to me as though Terrio was actually going to take off. It looked like he just took a step that way and started to look back towards the baseball. And when he ran into Cabrera, then he pointed to it. I think if he had gone, Stubbs was right on top of the baseball. He looks for the ball, starts to go, and that's when he turns back around. See, he starts to look back. It didn't look like he was going to third anyway. Of course, anytime you run into somebody, you can always make the argument that he was in your way.
Lou Piniella slowly walking back to the Cubs' third base side dugout. The bottom line is Aaron Harang has been given a 3-0 lead. And to begin this fourth inning, the Cubs have a runner at second base with nobody out. That'll be a wild pitch charge to Aaron Harang. Fukudome bounced out to Aaron his first time up. It's a one-run game. Well, he talked about Harang pitching out of the stretch for the first time in almost an hour. And one of the few times today he falls behind a Cub batter and Fukudome makes him pay.
He had thrown the breaking ball down in the dirt on the pitch before. This time he comes back with another breaking ball, and he leaves it right in the heart of the plate, right in the swing plane of Kosuke Fukudome.
Home run number 1 this year for Fukudome. And in 31 games at this ballpark, that is just his 2nd home run. Derek Lee struck out his first time up. Playable for Jay Bruce, 1 gone. All right, Cowboy, you ready for the AT&T trivia question for today?
Sure.
Who are the all-time Grand Slam leaders for the Reds and the Cubbies?
All time?
Able to knock down a bullet off the bat of Ramirez, then finds the ball and throws him out. Nice job there by Aaron Harang.
Fastball away, and that ball ran back more over the plate than what Harang wanted it to be. And Ramirez likes that ball out over the plate, as does the right-handed hitting first baseman Derek Lee. You've got to make them aware of the inside part of the plate in order to go outside with some consistency.
2 down for Marlon Byrd. Well, you know, anytime there's any career question from an offensive standpoint asked about the Reds, power numbers. Grand Slam, obviously a power number. I've learned my lesson. I'm going to guess from now on, no matter what, Johnny Bench.
Well, that's the first name that came into my mind.
I mean, because he played his whole career here.
Right.
You know, Frank Robinson stayed here. You know, Ken Griffey Jr. been here his whole career. It's a different ballgame. And on the Cubs side, I mean, don't you have to say Ernie Banks?
Either him or Sandberg.
Or Sammy. By subscribing to MLB.tv today to see every Reds game live or on demand on your computer. Visit Reds.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. A 3-2 Reds lead in the bottom of the 4th inning. Carlos Zambrano to face Juan Francisco, Chris Dickerson, and Ryan Hannigan. Hannigan, a run-scoring 2-out single to score Dickerson in the 2nd inning. Brandon Phillips, a 2-out, 2-run home run an inning later. And the Cubs get a 2-run home run from Fukudome in the top of this 4th inning. Francisco struck out his first time up. 2-2. Swing and a miss, but Francisco will reach base safely. That'll be a strikeout and a wild pitch.
They're really feeding Francisco a lot of changeups, and that has to do with Giovanni Soto behind home plate. He's calling the pitches, and even when Zambrano shakes off, he puts that changeup back down there again, puts the glove on the ground, and he's got him twice. That time it just happened to bounce away.
Well, now Dickerson, who hit the ball very hard, a line drive to left field his first time up, but it's a ball that should have been caught. And Alfonso Soriano got twisted and turned every which way, and the ball sailed over his head for a 2-out double. And the very next batter, Hannigan, knocked in Dickerson for the 1-0 lead. Chris off to a nice start this year. Has 3 hits in his first 7 at-bats. We know his track record when healthy. Better than a 280 major league hitter. Granted, we're not talking about a lot of time, but a career on base percentage about 380. He has a very good eye of the plate. He'll take a walk, and there were times over the last couple of years where he'd go 3-4 weeks at a time and was the best player on the team. But his history has been frequently injured. Trying to avoid that here in 2010. 1-2 on Dickerson.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that Dickerson has the talent to be successful here in the big leagues. The biggest key is to be between the white lines as much as possible. And he knows that. Dusty's made it quite clear to him. You want to play, you got to stay on the field. And sometimes you may have to play when you don't feel so hot. It's part of it.
Two and two on Chris Dickerson. And now full count. Well, 3-2 game, runner at first, nobody out. Bottom part of the batting order coming up. Do you start the runner here 3-2?
Yes.
I'm with you. That one lined into right field. Francisco was not going. And the Reds have 2 on with nobody out to begin this 4th against Carlos Zambrano. All right, time to answer our AT&T trivia question. We guessed Johnny Bench for the Reds, and we were thinking Ernie Banks, maybe Ryan Sandberg for the Cubs. Well, there we have it. Johnny Bench 11, Ernie Banks 12.
You got them both.
Adam Dunn hit 9. Tied for second most in Reds history with George Foster. Eric Davis hit 7. You pointed out, you know, Sammy Sosa hit so many home runs as a Cub, but he went a long time in his career without ever having hit a grand slam before he finally got one. And then he wound up with 8. And Sammy tied for second most with the great Billy Williams, Bill Nicholson, and Derek Lee, Aramis Ramirez. And again, a fly ball into center field. That's the first out of the inning.
have to get down a pretty good bunt right here to get Francisco from second to third. I don't think there'll be any issue with Dickerson going from first to second.
Derek Lee very aggressively charging in from first, and Harang lays it down perfect. Well, you can't roll it out there any better than that. And both runners advance.
Runners at first and second. You need to get the runner to third base. From second, you bunt the ball to third base. Make the third baseman charge, or you make the pitcher go get the baseball where he has his back to third base, and the only play he has is to throw the ball to first.
Well, the Reds in each of the last 2 innings have scored on 2-out hits. And to make it 3 straight innings, they'll need another 2-out hit. Here's Drew Stubbs.
Those 2-out hits flat break a pitcher's back. You put it on them like that.
1-1 to Stubbs. Doesn't chase that breaking ball down and away, and Drew ahead in the count at 2-1. He does chase that one, missed it. Maybe got a piece of it off the very end of the bat. Big pitch right here to Stubbs. Reds leading by a run. Francisco at third, Dickerson at second, 2 outs. We'll do it again. Good battle here. Zambrano and Stubbs, count remaining at 2-2.
Zambrano really trying to sink that ball and get it on the ground. Stubbs beat out the hit last time up.
Two and 2 on Stubbs with 2 outs and 2 on. What's good eye there by Stubbs. Running the count full.
Only problem with this breaking ball is it never starts in the strike zone, so you don't get a commitment from the hitter. Had it been up a little bit, you might have had a swing.
Got him swinging to put him away to end the inning. 1 hit, 2 left. We played 4. The Reds lead Zambrano and the Cubs by a run. much to the University of Cincinnati as well as the Reds Community Fund. Alfonso Soriano to lead things off against Aaron Harang in a one-run game. Start of the fifth. Ball one to Soriano, to be followed by Fontenot and Giovanni Soto. Harang has only allowed the 2 hits. The single by Theriot to start the fourth, and then the home run by Fukudome. Of course, the home run ball just killed Harang on opening day, and for that matter, all of last year. Gave up 24 home runs. I mean, really, you look at a guy with his ERA for the season, and last year was 4.2. Now, has he had better years than that? Yeah. But in this day and age, 4.2 is not bad. And yet a 6-14 record. He didn't get much run support, among the lowest in all of baseball. But gave up the long one more often than not, extremely inopportune times during tight games. 3-1 to Soriano. Will send it to a full count. Nice grab made by a young man sitting in the second deck, couple of rows back. Nice. Reds fan. Center field, and there's the home run ball again. That's 4 of them given up by Aaron Harang this year in 9 innings. And it's a 3-3 game.
Harang gave up the home run to Fukudome, and now he's gone away from coming back inside. Every single pitch to Soriano was out over the plate, and you could see Soriano creep up on the plate before that last pitch, and he just lifted it right out of here.
And another off-speed pitch. It was also an off-speed pitch that Fukudome got him in the 4th inning.
Breaking ball. You can tell that ball is outside, but it didn't have the same bite that he had early.
Fly ball to right center field. Bruce will get there to retire Fontenot. 1 gone here in the 5th. So Aaron Harang take to a 3-0 lead today. And now that lead has vanished. We begin anew here in the 5th inning.
And hitters that know they have the power to hit the ball out of the ballpark, when you stay in one area of the plate, whether it's breaking balls, fastballs, it doesn't matter. If everything's outside or everything's inside, they're going to take a chance to cheat and see if they can hit it out. And that's exactly what Soriano did.
Soto struck out his first time up. And Harang the 1-1 delivery. One of the few fastballs where he's come in on a Cub hitter today, and that one just ate Soto up.
And the reason that it does eat him up, and he didn't even really mean to go in there, the ball just ran in there, and that ball really wasn't inside, it was middle in, and it still surprised the heck out of Soto. All these Cubs hitters are just looking away.
And they set up away again. And again, Harang misses his spot that time. 2-2.
And a lot of times, Tom, if you hang a breaking ball, most times they don't hit it out of the ballpark. But when you're throwing all away and the hitter's looking out there and you hang a breaking ball, it's just like a BP fastball and they smoke it.
Strike 3 called on the outside corner. Another breaking ball and a 2-strike pitch. Just strike out of the game for Aaron Harang.
You see the difference in this breaking ball here. It had some good finish to it. That last little downward bite is what allowed Harang to get the strikeout.
So now Zambrano, a home run to begin this inning from Soriano, has tied the game at 3. Reds have Orlando Cabrera, Joey Votto, Brandon Phillips due up against Zambrano in the bottom of this 5th inning. Oh, 2. Struck him out to end the inning, but a game-tying home run by Soriano sends us to the bottom of the 5th, even at 3. To deep left center field in the 3rd inning at the time gave the Reds a 3-0 lead. But now we're tied at 3. Cabrera, Votto, and Phillips due up against Carlos Zambrano. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning, Reds about hit him 6-3, but 2 Chicago home runs of those 3 hits, accounting for the 3 runs against Aaron Harang. Cabrera is singled and struck out. Three and 1 on Orlando Cabrera with Votto waiting, and Cabrera showing bunt. And takes a strike.
I think he was taken all the way right there. Zambrano, he is working quick. He's trying to catch him off guard.
Nice play by Fontenot. What a play by Fontenot. Can't do it much better than that. This Cub middle infield has had a spectacular game and a half defensively.
A great backhand stop, and Cabrera gets some good wood on this baseball right past the pitcher's mound. He backhands it when he starts to stab his back foot into the ground. Watch the back foot. It slips out from under him, and he's still able to throw a bullet strike to first base.
Joey Votto quickly down a strike. Votto 0 for 2. We mentioned he was hitless here last night. Votto had the 3 hits on opening day. He had the 2 hits in the series finale against St. Louis. So 2 games, multi-hit games. The other 2 hitless. And 0 for 2 today. Count of 2-2 on Joey Votto. Second batter in a row, Zambrano has run the count full. That breaking ball, Votto hammers into either his knee or his shin or his front foot. Clearly in some pain down there.
Watch the pitch. It's a breaking ball inside. All the other pitches are going away from Votto. This pitch breaks towards him, and it's up around the hands. Zambrano trying to get that ball right at his hands to make him pop it up, and he hits the top of the ball and slams it right down on his leg.
His back leg. And there's a walk.
Breaking ball up, and you can see Votto going after it. And as that ball's coming towards you, when you make the swing and you catch it on the top, that angle takes it right back to your back leg.
Brandon Phillips. He bounced out to second his first time up, at the 2-run home run his last time. There goes Votto, and a throw down to second base, and Votto is out 2 away in the inning.
2 traditions Cincinnati fans have grown to love for generations: Reds baseball and JTM beef hoagies. Grab a bag today. Taste the family tradition. JTM, food, family, and fun. If that was a hit and run there. Just missed.
Well, we'll find that out after the game, I'm sure. You know, we've talked about it before, about Votto, and you know, you'd like to see him run with a little more frequency. I mean, he got thrown out right there, but you know, we've talked about Votto out. You know, in his minor league career, 1 year has stolen as many as 24 bases. Had another year where he stole 18. And Eric Davis will tell you, spends so much time around these Reds working on their base stealing in spring training, there's no reason why Votto's not stealing 20 or more in the big leagues.
I agree with you.
He's a good athlete. Well, Zambrano not happy there.
Well, he pumped his fist and was headed to the dugout. He thought that was strike 3. Ball started to come back, but didn't make it all the way back, and as you can see on Fox Tracks, that baby stayed just a tad outside.
2-2 on Brandon Phillips. 2 down. Nobody on in his 3-3 game. In the air, right center field. Bird to get it. And that's out. We played 5. Zambrano against Terang for the 8th time in their careers. And
in here have said that it's one of the best times that they've ever had at the ball yard. So contact the Reds for further information on that. Time now as Aaron Harang goes to work against the Cubs here in the 6th inning. Let's check out our Meyer textbook question. Micah Owings, 3 innings out of the bullpen last night, scoreless. He's been in the bullpen. He's been a starter. We would like to know, which do you prefer, him as a reliever or a starter? Text 1 if you like him in the bullpen. Text 2 if you want him as a starter. 37664 is where you text those votes to, and we'll have the results coming up. Cowboy, I think I know your answer.
What if you want him as a pinch hitter?
Well, that's a good thing if he's a middle reliever, because he's going to come in and eat up some innings, so inevitably he's going to get an at-bat, so he would be perfect in that role.
That's what I say. Pitch him out of the bullpen, and then you can use him as a pinch hitter.
Top of the order for the Cubs against Aaron Harang in his 3-3 game, top of the 6th inning. 2-1 on Ryan Theriot, who struck out, singled, and scored on the home run by Fukudome in the 4th. Harang is fan 6. He's not walked about it. We mentioned he's only given up 3 hits, but 2 of the hits left the ballpark. 2-run home run by Fukudome in the 4th, a game-tying solo home run to left off the bat of Alfonso Soriano in the 5th. Pitch on the ground, and Brandon Phillips down on one knee to make sure. 1 away. Harang has been so pitch efficient here today. 69 pitches thus far in the game. And really the same can be said of Zambrano. He has a few more, but he's settled down and gotten it together after a shaky couple of innings in the 2nd and the 3rd. Harang threw 93 pitches in his 5 innings in that opening day loss to St. Louis. For said Cardinal club, they're going to make a lot of pitchers work very, very hard to get them out over the course of the year. They resemble not the power necessarily, but the patience and the ability to foul balls off and put balls in play and work into good hitters' counts. They resemble American League clubs. Deep into right field, Bruce at the wall with room. Boy, when it left the bat, it didn't look good.
You allow a hitter like Fukudome to get some extension and look for the ball out over the plate. That's the kind of pitches that he's used to. You got to get that baby inside and make him conscious of the ball underneath his hands so he can't get extended. This is another one of those guys here.
Derek Lee, the batter, looks at ball 1 outside. Cubs and the Reds are tied at 3. We're in the top of the 6th inning with 2 down and nobody on. That looked like a pretty good pitch right there.
Well, the problem with going out there over and over and over again is you have to make almost a perfect pitch to get a strike without getting a hitter to dive out there and hit it.
On the outside corner, 2-1. Little man just came home from a big victorious soccer game today where he tells me he scored 8 goals. Is that right? Yeah.
8?
It's a pretty good day.
That's outstanding.
Got to make sure there's no fabrication involved in that, but a good day.
That's a great day.
Yeah. Look, you're on TV. What do you think of that? Hold that bill up a little bit. See that handsome mug there. Boy, your daddy wishes he looked that good. Fouled away, still 2-2 on Derek Lee. Here, let's see.
8 goals. I'll take that.
Yeah, you better believe it. What's the name of your team again this year? Yeah. Thunderbolts. Okay. 2-2 pitch. And we'll do it again.
Bet you were putting some thunderbolts into the nets.
That's what I tell him. I want those legs to be like machine gun fire at that goal. Just pow, 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 back of the net. You know what I mean?
I do.
2-2 the count on Derek Lee. Harang trying to get out of the 6th. And it's a base hit into center field by Derek Lee to keep the inning alive for Aramis Ramirez.
All the pitches are outside, and even if you make a great pitch with a breaking ball, a hitter of the caliber of Derek Lee and the guy that's coming to the plate now, they will hit that baseball if you allow them to continue to lean out over the outside corner.
So here comes Aramis Ramirez. 3 runs, 4 hits for Chicago. 3 runs, 6 hits for the Reds. Reds had a 3-0 lead in this game at the end of 3. Excuse me, swing and a foul ball into that Reds dugout. 1-1 on Aramis Ramirez.
And even though Hannigan had set up outside, the ball ran in on the hands of Ramirez, and it may end up being the best thing that could have happened on that pitch. Keep Ramirez from diving out over the plate.
Pitch of this inning upcoming for Harang. It's a 1-1 count on Ramirez. Fouled away.
And you can see the first move of Aramis Ramirez as the ball comes out of Harang's hand. His front shoulder is straight towards the outside corner. Watch this right here. He's taking off towards the outside corner as soon as the ball comes out. Watch where it's going. He is heading that way. That ball just happened to be a foot outside.
Lee at first, 2 outs. A ball and 2 strikes on Aramis Ramirez. All right, with that in mind, you're ahead in the count. You buzz one in on him here.
If he throws a fastball that's even middle in and down on the inside part of the plate, he is struck out. He will watch it go by.
Now they're set up away again. Two on Ramirez. That was a little bit closer than you thought it might be.
Well, Derek Lee, even at his age, can still run. He can still steal a bag if he has to. And you can see there, Tom, you're exactly right. He was fixing to break towards second base.
All right, now back to the at bat with Ramirez. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Harang holding that ball for a long time, and now they pick him off. That extra delay, and Lee got antsy and clearly was going to run. Watch it. There it is. First career pickoff for Aaron Harang. How about that? Here in the last of the sixth inning, Jay Bruce, Juan Francisco, and Chris Dickerson. Three straight left-handed batters against the Cub right-hander. Breaking ball is inside, 2-0 to Bruce. Jay hit a line drive right at Fontenot, the second baseman, his first time up. Fly to center his last time, and now it's 3 balls and no strikes.
Zambrano is starting to get a little bit fatigued as he approaches that 100-pitch mark. Starting to fly off a little bit towards the first base side.
Now here's where Bruce last year got himself in trouble. Good hitters counts and not swinging at strikes. And he takes a walk. And of course, this is the Coors Light 6th inning, and it's time for the Coors Light freeze can. Contact. A broken bat on a single by Cabrera off the end. Watch this in X mode. The Coors Light freeze can, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Nice.
That bat died a hero.
Indeed. 0-1 on Francisco. Certainly a tall order for this young man to make his first start of the season against one of the better pitchers over the last 7 years in all of Major League Baseball. Francisco has struck out twice. He reached safely his last strikeout in the 4th inning when strike 3 was a wild pitch that got away from Giovanni Soto.
And this is where a hitter like Francisco is going to get fed pitches that he can't hit, and those are the changeups where he'll have to make adjustments at this level. He has gotten changeup after changeup after changeup, and the reason being is he has struck out twice. He hasn't even fouled one off.
Fastball away. Francisco just 22 years young. So much talent.
Watch the forearm of Carlos Zambrano as he comes through on the Exmo here. Watch this forearm right there. Look at the muscles and how they work pulling the ball down through the strike zone. You talk about biceps, triceps, your shoulder and your legs. Well, you look at those muscles flexing there as they let go of the baseball. All of the fingers working as he fires that ball homeward.
2-1 on Juan Francisco. And again, another off-speed pitch, and Francisco just waves through it.
Zambrano is throwing him changeups inside and outside, just staying away from the heater.
And there's another one.
This is what you learn at the big league level. Scouting reports come straight to the pitcher, Zambrano. He knows what a guy can and can't hit before he gets out onto the mound. All he has to do at that point is execute that pitch. He knows that Francisco is aggressive for the fastball, so he doesn't throw him one. All of those changeups are nowhere near the plate, just enough to tease.
A perfect day for Dickerson. Got a double to left field in the second inning, scored the first Reds run of the game on a hit by Hannigan. And then Dickerson singled into right in the fourth.
See the change up there from Zambrano to Dickerson. Well, Dickerson learned last year, if you take that pitch, they'll stop throwing it. The pitcher's not going to just throw a changeup up there in the dirt if he's not going to get a positive outcome. Once you show the pitcher that you're going to take that pitch, he's going to have to throw you a strike. And that's just something a young Juan Francisco will learn over a period of time.
Well, what an absolutely beautiful day we have here today. Great crowd.
Great crowd? No, man. There's a lot of people here.
The Reds rarely play Saturday afternoon games anymore. They play them here in April. Obviously, you don't expect this kind of weather. They're playing night games anytime in April, historically anyway, and you're figuring on cold temperatures. Now, national television rights prevent you from televising games that are played later in the afternoon on Saturday. At least if you want to put them on TV, you can play them. You just can't put them on television. But the Reds may want to take a look around this ballpark and consider day baseball on Saturdays a few more times. There's a rocket for one and a throw to first, and that's a double play. So the inning starts with a leadoff walk. And they're empty when the inning comes to an end. Seventh around the corner in a 3-3 game. The Phoenix International Raceway, far west side of Phoenix, Arizona. Three game. Ramirez, Bird, and Soriano in the Chicago 7th inning. First pitch fastball in there, strike 2 of Ramos Ramirez. Ramirez at the plate when Derek Lee was picked off to end the 6th inning. Ramirez 0 for 2 is lined to right and hit a rocket that was knocked down by Harang, who picked it up and threw him out. So Ramirez has made very good contact despite no hits and 2 at-bats. Beginning the 7th inning, 83 pitches, so tack on 4 to that to start this frame against Aramis Ramirez. And now the 2-2 offering. He's been hurt on a pair of breaking balls today. Both home runs coming on breaking balls. One to Fukudome, a left-handed batter, and the other to Soriano, a right-handed hitter. Throws a 3-2 fastball there, and Ramirez is late. But still, everything continues to be away to virtually every Cub batter.
Pretty good pitches, but they're all on the outside corner, and you have little room for error when you keep the ball in that part of the plate.
In the air, left center field, backing up is Dickerson, and with a foot on the warning track, gathers it in, 1 away.
You can see the fastball as Aaron Harang starts to come plateward. You can see the mitt, and the ball runs right back to the center of the plate. But instead of ending up being in the middle, that ball runs middle in, and you can see where Aramis Ramirez hit the baseball. It was down towards his hands, and he didn't quite get the big part of the bat to it.
Marlon Bird 0 for 2. A ground out to short, a fly ball to right. He's down, strike 1. Bird started the first 3 games of the year in Atlanta and hit a couple of home runs. Good breaking ball there from Aaron. 0-2 on Marlon Bird.
You can really see the encouragement from Ryan Hannigan behind home plate. He'll give the sign and a head nod or a little pump of the fist. That's that little extra that kind of puts you over the top when it's late in this ball game.
Fly ball right field. Playable for Jay Bruce. Shy of the track. And the first 2 retired here in the Cubs 7th inning. One more big out to go. Soriano has popped up to right and homered to tie the game to left field in the 5th inning.
like to hope that Soriano will continue to expand his own zone that much. That pitch was a good 6 inches off the plate by the time it got to where he was swinging.
Came back with a fastball, and Harang wanted that call and didn't get it from the home plate umpire, Dana DeMuth.
Tom, when you stay out there like that, the umpire is right over that part of the plate. When you stay out there all the time, he's looking at the same pitches over and over and over again. So he's got a pretty good idea which ball is crossing and which one is not.
That one got a lot more of the plate, and Soriano fouls it off. Here's a home run from Soriano in the 5th.
Breaking ball that was on the corner of the plate, but it was about mid-thigh high and not a whole lot of downward tilt to it. And Soriano just slapped it out of here.
Only the 3rd hit in this young season and the first home run here in 2010 for Soriano. 2-2 pitch from Harang. Did he go? Yes, he did. 7 innings of 4-hit, 3-run baseball for Aaron Harang. He is due up 2nd in the 7th inning. Reds text poll: do you like Micah Owings in the bullpen or as a starter? And overwhelmingly 3-1 margin nearly in the bullpen, where he got the win last night with 3 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball. So Ryan Hannigan to lead things off. Now for the time being, Harang is in the on-deck circle. But as he's knocking on the door at 100 pitches through 7 innings, Dusty Baker with a decision to make. I would imagine if Hannigan reaches, Harang will bat to try and bunt him over. And if Hannigan doesn't reach, then more than likely we see a pinch hitter.
That pinch hitter most likely will be Lance Nix, I would imagine.
Well, Hannigan will not reach, and Harang will be called back indeed to the dugout. An excellent effort today by Harang. 7 innings of 4-hit, 3-run baseball. He did not walk about it and struck out 7. That's the Aaron Harang we saw in 2006 and 2007.
He only made 2 mistakes today. One to Fukudome, one to Soriano. Other than that, he threw the ball absolutely perfect. Didn't walk a batter, had great command today. And the thing that I love, Tom, is it's continuing to get better, not only from opening day to now, but from the beginning of this ball game towards the end. He just continued to get better as time went on, making adjustments with those new mechanics. He's starting to get back to the old Aaron Harang.
Miguel Cairo will be the pinch hitter. Cairo's been around a long time and has had a very, very good major league career. 35 years old. Came up originally with Toronto all the way back in 1996. Played for the Blue Jays in 97 for 16 games with the Cubs. Tampa Bay, the Cubs again in 01. St. Louis for 3 years. Went to the Yankees, went to the Mets, back to the Yankees. St. Louis again. Seattle and Philadelphia.
I think it says a lot for a player, especially a utility player like Cairo, when you go back to a team more than one time. Evidently, they liked you a lot the first time.
Slow roller up the line. And that ball rolls foul.
Baby almost came back.
I think that's why Ramirez snatched that thing up before it did. Aaron Harang threw 99 pitches in the game today. 70 of the 99 were for strikes. That's command.
And that's making adjustments from what we've seen in the past. And let's face it, 92 to 94 for Aaron Harang with some great breaking balls. Only 2 today didn't do what he wanted them to do.
Zambrano, meanwhile, 105 pitches in the game. He has struck out 7. Zambrano has walked 2. He's allowed 3 runs on 6 hits. The Reds got him for back-to-back hits, a double and a single by Dickerson to score on a Hannigan base hit in the 2nd inning, and a 2-run home run by Brandon Phillips. But ever since, 3 innings of 1-hit baseball, and that's 8 strikeouts now for Zambrano. So like Reds fans with Harang, Cub fans have to be happy about this different from Zambrano.
Zambrano's thrown a lot of strikes, and he's really been the majority of the time fastball changeup, and every once in a while you'll see the breaking ball, but he's kept the ball down in the strike zone.
Drew Stubbs 1 for 3, an infield hit scored on the Phillips home run in the 3rd. His other 2 at-bats he struck out.
If you can stay down in the strike zone and keep the ball out of the middle of the plate, you got a pretty good chance of success.
Stubbs is struck out for the 3rd time. And Zambrano fans the side in the 7th. Coming on from the Reds bullpen is left-hander Arthur Rhodes, coming off another marvelous season. A 2.5 ERA, and look at the opponent's batting average. It made no difference whether they are right-handed batters or left-handed hitters. The league hit less than 200 against Arthur Rhodes. And Jeff Baker, a right-handed batter, will come up and hit for Mike Fontenot. Baker, Soto, and then Zambrano due up. Rhodes pitching in just his second game in his 2010 season. He had a scoreless inning, allowing 1 hit, striking out 2 against St. Louis back in game 2 of the season. Ball hit hard into deep left center field. Stubbs back at the warning track, and it's gone. Baker comes off the bench and hits a home run off Arthur Rhodes to break a 3-3 tie.
Came with a breaking ball inside, and the ball didn't quite get down as much as Arthur wanted it to be. He wanted a backdoor breaking ball, and it came over the middle of the plate, and Baker got just enough of it.
Rhodes only allowed 3 home runs all of last year. Well, they have a pinch hitter standing in the on-deck circle, Xavier Nady, so apparently the day is over for Carlos Zambrano. Slow roller to short, fielded by Cabrera. And he will throw out Giovanni Soto, 1 away. Well, we brought it up last night after Carlos Silva left the game that don't go away, because the Cub bullpen has already been extremely shaky the early part of this year. Well, the same old's true today. Reds are down a run in the 8th, but don't go away. That is the 3rd career pinch hit home run for Jeff Baker. And here's Nady to bat for Zambrano. Give Zambrano credit, he fell behind 3-0. But over his final 4 innings, he allowed only 1 hit and no runs. He strikes out 9, walking 2, and the 3 runs are all earned.
He hung in there, kept his team in the game. I think Nick Massett is warming up for the Reds, Tom.
Former Pirate left-hander, came over to the Cubs last season, John Grabo, will come on and face the Reds, it appears, in the bottom of the 8th inning. This last night, the Cubs led 3-1 going into the 8th inning. Ismailin Caridad came on, allowed 2 hits, walked 2, and surrendered the grand slam to Drew Stubbs in a 5-4 Reds win. In the air down the right field line, tailing away from Bruce out of play.
I wonder how Nady's left shoulder's feeling today after getting smoked twice yesterday. Can't be too good.
Nady had a good night last night. Might have been a painful night. Got hit twice, threw a walk, also knocked in a run with a single. His first start of this season. Lined into right, Bruce has it, and there are 2 gone in the inning. Well, we invite you to get pumped for Reds baseball. Visit any Greater Cincinnati, Dayton, or Columbus United Dairy Farmers and receive a half-price discount on Reds tickets with your purchase of a minimum of 8 gallons of gasoline. And the offer is good for up to 6 tickets to select games in April and May. Visit Reds.com/UDF for details.
Thought you were going to say 8 gallons of ice cream.
Or 8 scoops at one time. Is 7 where you've topped out, or did you get to 8 last year? I can't remember. 8. And normally the lineup on that was what? If I remember right, now see, I only remember, no, you're right. See, I only remember 7. I remember when you started, you went with the 3 dips of the mint chocolate chip, right?
Right. 3 cookies and cream. 3
cookies and cream, and then you put the mint chocolate chip on the top to sort of dribble down over the rest, right?
But when I'm really hungry, I double up on that top mint. Wow. Call that the double dribble.
Bottom of the roads to end the inning, but damage done. A tie-breaking home run off the bench by Baker gives Chicago a 4-3 lead. Comes on from the Chicago bullpen and quickly gets ahead of Orlando Cabrera, 0-2. Graybo beginning his first full year with the Cubs after being acquired from the Pirates, along with Tom Gorzolani, who will start tomorrow. That was July the 30th of last year. Pitch in the dirt. They appeal. He didn't go around. Reds scored 3 runs on 5 hits in the first 3 innings of this game. They have been shut out on 1 hit ever since. But now Zambrano out of the game as Baker stays in following his home run, giving Chicago this lead. And Cabrera gone swinging. That's 4 straight strikeouts by Cub pitching and 5 of the last 6 batters.
This is the 4th time in 5 ball games that John Graybo has appeared for the Cubs. It appears that he will be a workhorse for one Lou Piniella.
Well, of course, Graybo was on the mound when the Cubs had a 2-1 lead in the 8th inning in Atlanta, the second game of the year. And Graybo gave up a 2-run home run to Chipper Jones. And in Atlanta, 1-run win. 2-0 to Joey Votto. Said he threw him a 3-1 changeup. And Chipper said after the game he was sitting on a changeup. And he whacked it. And there's a bullet into right field. Over to try and cut it off is Fukudome. And he does so, holding Votto to a 1-out single, representing the tying run of 1 out in the 8th. And of course, after every Reds game, Fox Sports Ohio breaks it all down on Reds Live, brought to you by King's Honda and the King's Auto Mall. Visit King'sHondaUSA.com. That is the first hit for the Reds since Chris Dickerson singled to right way back in the 4th inning. And now Brandon Phillips, who hit a 2-run home run, back in the 3rd inning. And he was trying to hit his 2nd of the game. He does have 1 home run in 9 career at-bats against Graybo. The Reds have another rally in them. They scored 4 in the 8th inning last night. They're down by 1 in the 8th inning here today. 1-2 to Brandon Phillips. Trouble here. Little time to get it out of the glove, and it costs the Cubs a chance to turn 2.
Looked like Ramirez could not get his feet set in time. And the way he caught that baseball, he had to double clutch as he threw the ball to second base.
Now Jay Bruce is lined to second, fly to center, and drawn a walk. Graybo had Votto very confused as a base runner there at first a moment ago. Bruce down a strike.
This is a place where you'd love to see Jay Bruce rip one right into that left center field gap. He's got the power to do it. Just got to hang in there a little bit longer with these left-handed pitchers. Because with the speed of Phillips at first base, any gapper's got a chance to tie it up.
Rocket off the bat of Bruce. He just cannot get a break. Now, you can't hit it any harder than this. We go to the 9th with the Cubs leading by a run.
Phillips was running on it, then you got a chance to score. You got a chance to tie the ball game up.
Well, now Nick Masson, who, of course, had just the one horrible inning on opening day when he allowed 5 runs, 3 hits, walked a couple of batters, but, I mean, trying to build on that remarkable season from last year. And this year, he is the primary right-handed setup man. He became that after David Weathers was traded, midway through last year. But he starts the year for the first time ever as the right-handed setup guy. And that's the first time in his career he started a season in that role. Heart of the Cub lineup here in the 9th. Fukudome, Lee, and Ramirez. If you're looking ahead of the bottom of the 9th, the Reds have Francisco, Dickerson, and Hannigan. And hoping for more than that against the Cubs closer, or at least one would assume, Carlos Marmol. I mean, you say assume
because nobody's throwing.
And you have left-handed batters in Francisco and Dickerson. Of course, there are options on the bench. From the right side, if they leave Bravo in the game.
But the thing that I'm curious about, Tom, is Marmol's not even throwing. So if you bring Rolen and Gomes off the bench quickly, Marmol will not be ready to throw unless he starts sometime here in the near future.
Marmol got a save in Atlanta. The only Cup win this season. That was on Thursday night in Atlanta. He did not pitch at all here last night. One and 2 to Fukudome, who had a 2-run home run back in the 4th inning off Aaron Harang. Phillips throws him out. Now Marmol, it looks like, just got up. He may have been up earlier during that last inning. And now he goes back up and starts to throw again. He looks like he's already been cranked up just by the release of that last pitch. So maybe he just took a breather. I mean, he is their guy starting this year. A lot of competition going into last year when they brought in Kevin Gregg, and Gregg won the job in spring training, and the year did not go well for Gregg at all. Marmol became the closer at the tail end of the year. And then they let Gregg go during the offseason. And Marmol is the guy. One and one to Derek Lee. Fastball away.
Bassett falling off to the first base side just an ever slight bit. That's what's driving those balls down into the dirt, the breaking balls away.
Three and two on Derek Lee. Reds had a 3-0 lead in this game. After getting a single run in the first, a 2-run home run by Phillips in the third. But Fukudome made it a 1-run game with a 2-run blast in the Chicago fourth. Alfonso Soriano tied it an inning later with a solo home run to left. And it stayed that way until the pinch hit home run leading off the 8th inning by Jeff Baker against Arthur Rhodes.
last pitch was 96 miles an hour, right smack dab perfect on the outside corner, right down the kneecaps.
3-2 pitch. He walked it. Well, make sure to get your 2010 Reds team calendar. It's Friday, April the 23rd, presented by Kroger. And this year's calendar features current Reds Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto, Jay Bruce, and many more. For tickets to that game or any game, call 513-381-REDS. That's 381-REDS. Or go to Reds.com. So first walk issued by Reds pitching in the game today. And here's Aramis Ramirez. Ramirez is lined to right. Hit a bullet one-hopper back to Harang, who knocked it down and threw him out in the fourth. And then he just missed hitting one out of here off Harang in the seventh. A fly ball which sent Dickerson to the warning track and left. 1-1 to Ramirez. No one wanted to talk about it down in the Cubs clubhouse much before the game today, but certainly there wasn't a lot of peace and harmony down there in reference to what happened last night in Carlos Silva and then what he had to say to the press after the game. I mean, you wake up this morning and Silva says, when asked about leaving the game with a very low pitch count through 6 innings, allowing 1 run, he said, hey, the manager took me out. I didn't want to come out. Well, then you hear the story that apparently Carlos Silva told the Cubs team trainer and told pitching coach Larry Rothschild that he felt some stiffness in his shoulder. And we even saw a little bit of that on the mound last night.
Right.
And naturally, when a manager hears that from his pitching coach and his trainer,
especially in your first start,
he's not going to leave the guy in the game. And I have a feeling, as Ramirez has gone on strikes, that, I mean, if I were a betting man, I would imagine Lou Piniella and Carlos Silva had a little sit-down sometime earlier today before this game.
Well, the lines of communication have to be straight with the manager. And it doesn't matter what position you play or what role that you play on the team. The manager is the one that has to know whether your arm is stiff or what's going on. And you have to understand that if you tell the trainer or you tell the pitching coach, you know, I'm not feeling so hot, that's going to go to the manager.
Now Marlon Byrd. 2 down and 1 on here in the top of the 9th inning.
I mean, no manager in his right mind would have left Silva in that ball game if he said my shoulder's a little stiff after the last 2 years he experienced in Seattle and the fact that this is the first ball game he's starting for the Cubs.
There goes a runner. Got a big-time jump, but a big-time throw by Hannigan.
Tell you what, you don't run on him. Do not even think about it.
All right, here we go. Bottom of the 9th inning. Francisco, Dickerson, Hannigan due up. And I would assume we're going to see included in a team photo with the 2010 Reds, the auction winner. And a guest will join the entire Red squad for a photo shoot at the ballpark on April the 21st. And you'll receive a team-signed framed print of the photo. Reds apparel and 4 tickets in the Champions Club that night. Bid now at reds.com/community, and all proceeds benefit the Reds Community Fund. Coy Hill is a new catcher. The new pitcher is 27-year-old right-hander Carlos Marmol. Some of the most electrifying, pure stuff in all of baseball, but look at the walks. 65 of them in 74 innings last year. You see the opponent's batting average, extremely hard to hit when he's throwing strikes. But he is as wild as any pitcher in all of baseball. And those walks per 9 innings would certainly illustrate that. Tyler Colvin, by the way, is taking over out in left field for Soriano. I mean, you almost have to just stand up there and wonder if Marmol is capable on most days of throwing 3 strikes before he throws 4 balls. But when he's throwing sliders like that, as he was the other night in Atlanta, he is mighty, mighty tough. He had a Jekyll and Hyde season last year. And Francisco struck out 4 times in the game.
All sliders, all on the inside part of the plate.
And none of them in a strike zone. First one was.
Make it look like a fastball and dive straight down underneath the hands, especially to a fastball hitter.
Marmol ranked 3rd in the National League in strikeouts per 9 innings last year. And that 170 batting average allowed was 2nd best among all relievers in the National League. With the walks and the 12 hit batters, the highest in those categories among all National League relievers. And boy, that is a venomous slider indeed.
Short and quick, and that baby drops straight down. When it follows that 95-mile-an-hour fastball, we're only talking about a millisecond to make that decision.
1-2 to Dickerson. And it's down low. 2 balls and 2 strikes on the fastball. Reds only down a run. Batting here in the last of the 9th inning. But now they're down to their final out on back-to-back strikeouts against Francisco and Dickerson.
Slider here from Marmol, and the bottom drops out of it. You see where that baby starts, right down the heart of the plate. And I don't care what kind of hitter you are. You can be in the Hall of Fame and have a difficult time hitting that.
Lance Nix, a left-handed batter, will now come hit for Ryan Hannigan. Reds are down to their final out. Slider in there, a strike. For the Reds, striking out at an alarming rate again here today. 12 strikeouts by the trio of Zambrano, Grabo, and Marmol. Reds had a 3-0 lead for Aaron Harang in this game today, and he couldn't hold it. Harang only allowed 4 hits, but 2 home runs. The numbers are very good at the end of 7th, as he allows just 3 earned runs. 1-2 now to Nix. One ball and 2 strikes on Lance Nix, and that's all she wrote. Marmol fans aside in the 9th inning, and that's what we talked about. When he's on, he is nearly impossible to hit.
Well, the first pitch he threw was a breaking ball for a strike. Hitter has got to guard that, and that's a tough one to even make contact with.
So Zambrano, Graybo, and Marmol combined on a 7-hitter. That never started in a strike zone. But, again, you brought it up, Cowboy, when your fastball's 95, and you come back with that slider, he can be mighty tough some days.
Tough to decipher between those two pitches. 95-mile-an-hour fastball and an 87, 88-mile-an-hour slider. And when it drops straight down, that's what makes it the most difficult, because you swing right over the top of it and you don't have it